Will Haney Garcia be called off after Ryan Garcia's mental health evaluation? So, if you're late to the party, Ryan Garcia announced that the New York Athletic Commission has requested that he have a mental health evaluation or a mental evaluation before they proceed with the fight on April 20th. We're going to listen to what Ryan Garcia had to say, and then I'll give my thoughts.
I'm going to sue the NYC Commission, and I'm saying this why. They're trying to challenge me for a mental evaluation. I said, okay, what is your premises for the mental evaluation? Well, your tweets and your posts. I said, is it not my U.S. constitutional right to have free speech? So because I'm tweeting what I'm tweeting, that's premises for a mental evaluation. That's curious. So now you're trying to mess with my constitutional rights. Now I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you for defamation of character. Actually, they won't test Mike Tyson if he fought in New York, but they will test me. Sounds a little fishy to me. And I love Mike. Mike loves me. Cannot wait for them to actually take me to court because I will literally defeat them. I'm going to sue the NYC Commission.
So many things to unpack there. First, let's talk about him saying he's going to sue the New York State Athletic Commission for defamation. You can't sue them for doing their job. Their job is to make sure that fighters are fit to compete. And if they question someone's ability or someone's fitness to compete, they can request an evaluation. They can request tests. Just like if they suspect someone is on PEDs, they can request that they take a drug test. They're not accusing the person of being on PEDs. They want to rule out the suspicion. There is suspicion that Ryan Garcia is having a mental health crisis. So before they allow him to fight in the state of New York, they want to rule out the suspicion that Ryan Garcia has mental health issues. You see the difference, Ryan? They're not defaming you. Now, if they find after the evaluation that Ryan Garcia is, in fact, dealing with mental health issues, and they call off the fight and they don't license him to fight in New York, well, then you can make the argument that they were trying to defame you, but they would be able to present the evidence that they received during that mental health evaluation. And that's when people are going to say, okay, you can get your mental health evaluation expert and versus their expert and whatever. But in the end, their decision not to license you would be supported by evidence. So they're not trying to defame you. They simply understand that the world is questioning Ryan Garcia's mental health based on his actions, what he's been saying, what he's been putting out on social media, which is, it's not like he's been doing this going into his other fights. He just recently started doing this. So now he's exhibiting unusual behavior, making ridiculous claims and accusations. And so now what they're saying is, we want to make sure that you're mentally fit before we give you the license and before we allow you to fight in the state of New York. That is their job. Just like Amanda Serrano was not cleared to fight in Puerto Rico because she had damage to her eye. She had a scratched cornea. And so the doctor could not approve her. The doctor wasn't trying to defame Amanda Serrano. The doctor just said, you're not fit to fight. You can't fight tonight. You can fight another night. You can't fight tonight. If after the mental health evaluation, they determine that Ryan Garcia isn't fit to fight, well, then they'll call off the fight. They're not saying that you're not a good fighter. They're not saying that you can't come back and fight on another night. Look at Tyson Fury and the mental health issues he had to deal with. Look at Danny Garcia reported he was dealing with mental health issues. You know, we clearly see that there are people going through mental health issues even when they can't see it themselves. So for Ryan, I think he's looking at it the wrong way. And to say you have a constitutional right, like to free speech. Yeah, you have a constitutional right to free speech, but you don't have the right to tell other people how to react to your free speech. They have the freedom to react to your free speech the way they want to. So if you say something that offends me, I now have the right to exercise my rights as the person who was offended by your speech. And you want to talk about companies, brands, they have the right to determine how they want their brand to be presented. They have the right to determine how they want their company to be represented. And if someone goes out and does something that's a bad representation of their company, that goes against their company policy, they can terminate the person. The person doesn't get to say, I have freedom of speech to make that statement. Yeah, and your statement wasn't in line with the company policy. It wasn't in line with the company's vision. It's bad for the company's brand, and we are going to part ways. That is how cancel culture began. Everyone who's gotten canceled doesn't get to say, I have the right to say this, I have the right to say that. You have the right to say whatever you want. That is true. That is protected under the Constitution. But you don't have the right to tell people how to react to what you said. And the constitutional right of free speech doesn't make you immune to the consequences of your speech. So Ryan needs to understand that. Now, do I think the fight will be called off after Ryan Garcia's mental health evaluation? I'm leaning towards no, it will not be called off. A mental health evaluation, at least from what I'm familiar with in the court's perspective, when you're evaluating someone, you're trying to see what their perception of reality is. Also, the likelihood of them harming themselves. You just want to make sure that they understand or they have a firm grip on reality. They're not going to harm themselves and things of that nature. So, I mean, the fact that he's training, he knows he has a fight. Uh, I think he may be able to get through the mental health evaluation. But if you're New York, you want to have this mental health evaluation because one, if he does get through it, you get to say he's fine. This must be trolling, which is good for the fight continuing because now people are going to be like, okay, we'll feel better about watching Ryan fight now that we know he's had a mental health evaluation. But if he fails, then it does confirm the suspicion that many people have been having about Ryan Garcia. So again, I just want to say, like, I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. I think it actually helps legitimize the fight if he passes a mental health evaluation because it protects the New York State Athletic Commission for giving him the license to fight in New York. It tells the fans that he may have actually been trolling in that, you know, you can feel good about watching the fight. And it also lets us know that you can buy tickets to the fight because the fight is going to continue to go on. Because I know a lot of people are hesitant now about proceeding with going to the fight or making plans. Because when you go to a fight, you got to buy tickets, you got to buy a hotel, you got to do all these types of things. And are you willing to do all that knowing that Ryan's mental might not be there? So I think this is a good thing for the fight, actually. So I think Ryan should chill, should be on his best behavior. He needs to stop making all these ridiculous claims about defamation suits and whatever. Just show up, be professional, and say, look, I am trying to sell a fight. I am paid based on how many pay-per-view sales I can generate. I am paid based on how many people are interested in my fight. That is why I did all of these things. So I think that's what he needs to do. And if he does that, I think he'll be fine. So that's my prediction. I'm about 60-40, the fight continues, and Ryan will pass the mental health evaluation. Thank you for watching. Peace.